We talk about people who grew up poor like it's just a money problem. Like once the bank account fills up, everything resets. But ask anyone who grew up that way and they'll tell you something strange. The money changed. The feeling never did. You can have a stable job now, a full fridge, savings even, and still, you'll catch yourself flinching at a price tag that shouldn't matter. You'll order the cheaper thing on the menu out of instinct, not budget. You'll feel a flicker of guilt buying something just because you wanted it, not because you needed it. If you grew up poor, your brain isn't broken. It's just still running old software. Here's a scene you might recognize. You're an adult now, financially fine. And you're standing in your kitchen looking at a takeout container. It's empty. You know it's empty. And you still can't throw it away. Because somewhere, a long time ago, containers were currency. They held leftovers. They held the difference between dinner and no dinner. So now, decades later, your hand hesitates over the trash can, and you don't even know why. Or maybe it's smaller than that. You check your bank balance not because you're worried, but because checking is the worry. It's a reflex. Like checking if the door is locked. Your thumb does it before your brain even decides to. Or maybe it shows up at the grocery store. You're standing in the aisle, doing math in your head you don't actually need to do anymore. Calculating, item by item, even though your card would clear without a second thought. The calculator in your mind never really turned off. It just got quieter. A study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that growing up in scarcity actually changes how the brain allocates attention. People who experienced financial instability early in life show heightened vigilance toward resource-related cues even decades after the instability ends. Your brain didn't just learn a habit, it learned a survival strategy. And it kept the strategy long after the danger left. But here's what's fascinating. This isn't a personality flaw. It's not being bad with money or having anxiety issues. It's something closer to muscle memory. Except the muscle is your nervous system. And the memory is, resources can disappear. So stay alert. Think about it from the inside of a kid's mind for a second. If you grew up watching a parent stretch one paycheck across a month that needed two, you learned fast that scarcity isn't theoretical. It's Tuesday. It's the lights flickering when the bill is late. It's overhearing a hushed conversation in the kitchen and understanding, without being told, that something is wrong with money again. A kid in that environment doesn't get the luxury of assuming things will work out. So the brain adapts. It starts treating uncertainty as the default setting, not the exception. And uncertainty, when it shows up early enough and often enough, doesn't just inform behaviour, it rewires the baseline. Researchers sometimes call this scarcity mindset, but that name almost undersells it. It's not just a way of thinking about money, it's a way of bracing for the world. This is why so many people who grew up poor describe feeling tense even when things are good. Not because they're ungrateful, not because they don't notice the abundance, but because relaxing has historically been the thing that happened right before something fell apart. So some part of them stays on guard, scanning for the moment the flaw disappears again, even when the flaw has been solid for years. It shows up in strange, specific ways. Some people overspend the second they have money, almost compulsively, like they're trying to prove to some younger version of themselves that scarcity is over. Others go the opposite direction. They hoard, save obsessively, feel almost panicked, spending on themselves even when they can clearly afford it. Both responses look completely different on the surface, but underneath, they're the same nervous system trying to solve the same old problem. Make sure we never feel that unsafe again. There's another layer to this too, one that has less to do with money and more to do with worth. Kids who grow up poor often learn, quietly without anyone saying it outright, that needing things is a burden. That asking for help costs someone else something, so they get good at going without. They get good at saying, "I'm fine," when they're not. At not mentioning the field trip they can't afford. At making themselves smaller, so they take up less space and less budget. That skill doesn't disappear in adulthood either. It just relocates. It shows up as difficulty asking for a raise, difficulty accepting a gift without immediately wanting to repay it, difficulty believing they're allowed to take up room in a relationship without earning it first. And here's the twist that changes everything. This isn't you being broken. This is you being adaptive. Your brain did exactly what it was supposed to do. It learned from your environment and built a strategy to keep you safe inside it. The hypervigilance, the guilt, the inability to fully relax around money, the discomfort with receiving. None of that is a character flaw. It's a survival skill that hasn't been told the danger is over yet. The hard part is that the world you live in now is usually not the world that built that wiring. You're not 8 years old anymore, watching the mail pile up. You're an adult with resources, choices, stability, and a nervous system that's still bracing for a winter that already passed. That gap between the threat your body remembers and the safety you're actually standing in is where most of the tension lives. Not in your bank account, in the distance between then and now. So if you've ever felt confused about why you can't just relax and enjoy what you've built, why comfort sometimes feels suspicious, why ease can feel like it's waiting for the other shoe to drop, this is why. Your brain isn't trying to sabotage your peace. It's trying to protect a kid who needed protecting, using the only tools it had at the time. You're allowed to update the wiring, slowly, gently, on your own timeline. Noticing the reflex is often the first step. Recognizing, I'm not actually in danger right now. I just remember what danger used to feel like. That single moment of awareness, repeated enough times, is often where the old pattern starts to loosen its grip. Not all at once, not dramatically, just a little quieter each time you notice it. You weren't careless with money. You weren't ungrateful for what you have now. You were a kid who learned to survive scarcity so well that your body never quite got the memo that the scarcity ended. That's not something to fix. That's something to understand. And understanding it is usually where the healing actually begins. If this felt familiar, you're definitely not the only one. There's a whole series exploring how childhood shapes the adult brain in ways we rarely talk about. So if this resonated, the next video might hit even closer to home.